What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. After Sound here, bringing you Splinterlands content every single day. We also stream right here on this channel every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday morning, so come by and say hello. All right, guys, well, the Barron's Bounty Bitcoin Halving promo event, wow, that is a mouthful for sure, is live. And we're only a couple of hours into it. You can see this thing was only supposed to run for 15 days, so we're less than half a day through it, but there have already been a significant amount of sales, at least significant in terms of my expectations. Now, I'm not saying this to be bearish. I just really did not know what the appetite would be like for the promo cards, but it seems like we've had a good amount sold in the first day, I guess, first 12 hours-ish of this. So you can go and see they got a nice little landing page here, splash page, where you're able to see the cards. You're able to, spend DEC and vouchers or a combination of both. And of course, they go through all the prizes. We've been through all that already. But the leaderboard here is where I wanted to focus in on. And I don't know what the total count of cards is yet. I'm sure that's floating around somewhere. But I wanted to mainly just focus, and keep in mind, the total card count doesn't really matter, at least not right now, because it's not capped, right? So we'll see where things end up at the end of this. But if we go all the way down, you can see that there's at least 250 people buying some of these cards. And I know there's a legendary and a rare, so if you go all the way down here, these people are probably just buying the rares. And sure, may there be some accounts that are doing some kind of like multi-account thing or secondary accounts. Yeah, potentially. But I mean, again, the benefit is all going to be having it under one roof. So the amount of people that would be going and using multiple accounts doesn't really make sense to me, unless maybe they have some credits that are just stuck there and they wanted to use it for something, maybe enter themselves into some kind of raffle. Again, I don't know. Either way, over 250 accounts have already bought cards, which I think, again, is fantastic. On top of that, at the top here, you can see the total DEC and credits spent, and that's over 90 million. Now, keep in mind that the team was asking for $200,000 in order to run this event. That's how much they were wanting to get, and they were saying that they would provide more value back to the DAO through the burning of DEC and vouchers. Well, here you go. We are actually close to half of that, right? On day one, we're at almost 91 million. Now, granted, DEC is not at peg, but obviously, I do expect DEC to get back to peg at some point, and the team really doesn't need DEC to be back at peg at this point because they can just filter that out on the back end. Although I will say, obviously, DEC being back at peg is beneficial for everyone, including the team. So I'm sure that they would want to get that, they would want to get that back up to peg sooner rather than later. But the whole point of this is that they'll be holding onto that DEC, essentially locking it up in their coffers and only giving it out anytime credits are spent. And credits being spent is money coming into the ecosystem from outside, whether that's fiat or that's other types of crypto that come in and purchase credits. So ultimately, I think that this is off to a fantastic start. There's one last thing that I want to call out here, though, and this is the fact that everything is always going to be dominated by whales here. And I don't mean that in a bad way. This is what I talk about when I'm just like, there's a core group within Splinterlands, and maybe they don't all show up at every event, but there are people that will pay ridiculous sums of money, right? To go in and essentially purchase, right? So obviously this is not going to be a perfect like 1-to-1 because these points, right? This is a 3-to-1 points right now. So anybody who's spending, it's not like they spent $31,000, right? This is probably here. So they spent 10,000 DEC, right? So 10,500 DEC or credits. I mean, that's not, 10 million. That's not an insignificant amount. I mean, that's like 10 grand, right? With DEC at peg. Obviously we're a little bit below that right now. This is like 8 grand for Kong K Vong, right? Like this is somebody who has spent more than 10% of the entire event at the top. You look at someone like Trash Panda, right? So $4,600, 4,600 DEC or 4.6 million, 2.8 million, 2.4 million. I've lost count here, but I'll say this, 2.3, 2.4. I mean, just these top accounts, right? The top 5, definitely the top 10 of the 250 plus that are here has spent 25%. Right. And if we continue to go down this line, right, again, right now, I guess the spread kind of evens out somewhat normally. But everything's always going to be dominated by the top spenders here. So again, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. If anything, that's a good thing, because for all the people who are just like, oh, Splinterlands is dead, or Splinterlands is not going to get any support, I mean, here you go. There's somebody literally just spent $8,000 on this specific promotion, right? And then you have other people who are spending significant amounts as well to get maxed out copies and whatever the case is. So ultimately, I'm looking at this. We're only on day one. There's going to be 14 more days of this. This runs for a little bit over 2 weeks. Obviously, the multiplier effect is going to push people to do to be upfront, but or to purchase upfront. But the thing is, as we continue to go on, I do think that there's going to be at least a little jockeying for position. I mean, some of these rewards are actually quite good. Let's actually go back to the leaderboard real quick. You can see how many, how many prize chances. You can see how many guaranteed copies or BCX, like all this stuff here. There's going to be jockeying for position at all these different areas. And again, even if that's just like, let me buy 1 more BCX or 5 more BCX or whatever the case is, we're gonna see something as we go along, at least in my opinion. So I don't think that we're done at 90 million. And again, I believe the target that the team is shooting for is 200 million, right? That's how much they were hoping to collect. They actually even bragged about the fact that they could probably collect more from doing a sale rather than a collaboration with the DAO. So at this point, I'm expecting more than 200 million, but as long as we get 200 million, then I think the team is sitting pretty in terms of what they need in order to have this event be a success in their books. But ultimately, it's burning a good amount of vouchers. It's we'll try to see if we can get some calculations on that later. But it's burning vouchers. It's locking up some DEC. It's getting credits to bring fiat or other value into the ecosystem. So I'd say we're off to a pretty good start. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Is this surprising to you? Are you planning on buying, or did you buy already? And are these results, did they change your mind one way or another? I'm very curious to know your thoughts. For me, I have not bought or purchased anything yet. I am not going for any leaderboard positions, so I do believe I have 14 days left. And yeah, most likely I probably won't buy it, but if anything, I may buy it off the secondary market if people are just trying to dump. But, we'll see how things go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Otherwise, I'll catch you all in the next one and see you around the game. Take care.